I invite the following personalities who constitute the panelists for the discussion to proceed upstage. First on the bill, Nana Kwesewa, the CEO, PMMC. Mr. Henry Osei is the Director of Research, Chamber of Bullion, Thames, Ghana. We are also to have a representative from the Ghana National Association of Small Scale Miners. The rep, yes, the man in the hat. The CEO of Water Resources Commission is also expected upstage. Water Resources Commission. The Executive Director, Geological Survey Authority, Mr. Daniel Bohama. His representative is here, so please proceed upstage. And last but not least, Professor Emmanuel Ahen. Professor Emmanuel Ahen, University of Energy and Natural Resources. Thank you very much, Prof.
But the program is... Thank you very much, Mr. Registrar and panelists and the participants. I think the topic here for discussion is integrating small-scale mining into the economy. Challenges, experiences, and prospects. I think the presentations were done earlier in the day. And how long do we have to do this? So if each person can do a presentation between 5 to 7 minutes, we are looking at almost an hour. So let's keep our discussions straight to the point, and let's do it briefly. So the topic again, I think you all have them in your program. Integrating small-scale mining into the economy. I think the economy of Ghana. Challenges, experiences, and prospects. So, not by any special order, but just as you were invited. So let's start with Nana Edusei. Oh, sir, you see? Akwesi Ewia, CEO, PMMC. What is that? Precious mineral. Oh, you have been buying all the gold. I see. Okay, all right. So you have maximum 7 minutes to do your presentation. How can we integrate small-scale mining into our economy? The challenges, prospects, and what we call is experiences.
Thank you very much, and good afternoon to you all. It's indeed a pleasure to be here. Interestingly, I was supposed to be here yesterday, but I was held up in Accra in a meeting together with the Vice President and then also my colleague CEO from Minerals Commission and my Honorable Sector Minister as well, and then representatives from the Central Bank. And interestingly, the conversation had to do with the downstream sector of the small-scale mining industry. And in essence, what happens after the gold has been mined by the small-scale miners. In 2018, before I come to that, I represent the precious minerals marketing who do not know or have not heard of PMMC. It's an abbreviation for the Precious Minerals Marketing Company Limited. PMMC is the only state-owned company that deals in the downstream sector of the precious minerals industry. So in essence, we deal in gold and diamonds. So we buy gold, we sell gold, we also use gold to manufacture jewelry. At the moment, PMMC holds the mandate as the national assayer. National assayer in the sense that no gold exports take place from Ghana to elsewhere without coming through PMMC. And two is that PMMC has a presence in all the strong rooms of the large-scale mining companies. So whenever they are going to pour gold, PMMC has officers in there. We take the measurements in terms of the weight, we take samples of the gold, and then it is transported by helicopter to Accra to the National Assay Laboratory. Since last year, we were able to digitalize the National Assay Laboratory, and as we speak, with a click on my phone, I'm able to tell whichever gold exports are leaving the country at any point in time. So that is the bit about PMMC. Now to the topic itself. How do we integrate the small-scale mining sector into the economy? My focus will be on the downstream sector of the small-scale industry. So in terms of the mining, I'm sure that Dr. Agri, if I'm right, spoke about formalization. Okay, so land use. So there was another presentation on formalization. So, and I think it was very insightful. But concerning the downstream sector, for us, what we find is that indeed there is evidence to show that the ASM sector, and again, terminology is important. So there's artisanal mining, ASM, and there's small-scale mining. In Ghana, what we know, or if you look at our legislations, it is small-scale mining. You don't see artisanal mining in our legislations or in our literature here. But of course, when you look at literature coming from outside, particularly from the World Bank and others, what they use, the term they prefer to use is ASM, which is artisanal small-scale mining. But essentially, it is the same. Now, if you look at our figures in terms of gold production, in 2018, when Ghana became the premier gold producer in Africa and sixth in the world, the small-scale sector contributed 40% of total production. 40% of that. And you realize that over the years, there's been a lot of focus on the ASM sector, and for good reason. In fact, as we speak, the MMIP project, which has now evolved into the Ghana Land Restoration and Small-Scale Mining Project, is focused on the ASM sector. And that tells you that there is real potential in terms of the economic benefits of small-scale mining. So I know yesterday a lot of conversation went on about the benefit of small-scale mining, but this is just to reiterate the point that if we pay particular attention to it and find ways to integrate it into the formal economy, the benefits that we are going to reap as a country will be so enormous. Now, on our side, what we are doing in order to ensure that there is that form of integration is that we are looking at making available the means or the processes by which, if the gold comes out of the ground, it is not just transported as doré to foreign countries. Because as we speak, the reality on the ground is that whatever gold that is mined by small-scale miners, it finds its way out of the country. Even though there is trading here, just a little of it stays in here for value addition purposes. So, key thing for us was, how do we ensure that there is value addition in country? And so, one of the things we did and it's something that is very, very dear to government, was to see to the establishment of a gold refinery. So as we speak today, we have a gold refinery in Accra. The first state-owned, hopefully by next month, His Excellency the President will officially commission the refinery so that we can begin operation. The idea is to be able to get our gold, the Ghana gold, to that refinery and process it. We know that it is not enough to simply have a gold refinery. Beyond that, there is the need to be able to monetize the refined gold. And there is an international standard for that. And that international standard is the London Bullion Market Association, LBMA certification. In Africa, there's only one LBMA refinery, which is Rand Refinery, located in South Africa. And look at all the producing countries in Africa. And yet, there's only one LBMA certified refinery. So, what we intend to do is to be able to acquire that LBMA certification. And as we speak, there is a multi-stakeholder technical committee drawn from the Central Bank, Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, including the Chamber of Mines, and representation as well from the small-scale miners, that is going to be commissioned, inaugurated, to see to it that we are able to acquire that LBMA certification in a matter of 1 year. And that will be record time, because ordinarily, you can only do it within 3 years. But this government is bent on securing that certification within 1 year. And it is possible. It is very possible to achieve. So that is one side. We find that if we are able to promote refinery, gold refinery, one of the key issues we'll be dealing with is supply of raw material for the jewelry industry. That will be one of the key issues, because when we engage with them, they keep complaining that there's no raw material. There's no raw material. And so we'll be able to provide that raw material for them to be able to manufacture the white gold, the rose gold, give it whatever color you want. Now, what does it mean for the small-scale sector? If we are able to do this, jewelry manufacturing, LBMA certification, and all of that, what it then means is that the demand for gold would naturally go up. Then it also means that the small-scale sector or the small-scale miners would be encouraged to seek the necessary resources, financial resources, to be able to embark on the economic activity of mining the gold. So, in a nutshell, these are some of the things that we are doing. I know that I was given just about 7 minutes. I hope I've been able to meet it, just on it. So, in a nutshell, these are the key things we are doing on our part, looking at the downstream sector of the industry in order to integrate them into the formal economy. Thank you.
Thank you, CEO, PMMC. Okay. So the refinery is in Accra. Do they have to carry the ore to Accra or semi-processed? We can answer that question later. I don't know if there's any mining industry in Accra, but the refinery is in Accra, everything Accra. Okay. All right. The next person is Mr. Henry Osei, Director of Research, Chamber of Bullion. What is trades? Traders. Okay. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I think PMC is looking at the downstream, and the chamber is also looking at both the downstream and the upstream. I mean, what is happening out there, and what as a country we need to look critically into in order to avoid, because certain things that we are seeing problems that are rearing their heads up at the moment. What we need to look critically into is the responsible mining. And we need to look at the benefit. We saw the figures from 2017 to 2022, April. A staggering amount of $9 billion coming only from the small scale sector. And what we don't know is, if this gold has been responsibly mined, the country could have leveraged on this to take 10 times that value in advance as loan. But in our industry, even if I want to buy 100 kilos of gold, or to take 100 kilos worth of dollars in cash, I can leverage on just 10% of the maximum, 7 to 10% maximum. So that is the beauty of the industry. And this is the kind of trade that is being done in Dubai. And we think that, they don't mine gold. They don't mine gold, yes. But they are leveraging on what they have, the physical gold. They are leveraging on that. So if they're able to do $200 billion and the state is getting 5% of that, that is very, very significant annually. So it behoves on us, all of us as stakeholders, to invest into coins, and they are selling at premium. Nobody sells gold at the world price when it is converted into investment bars and coins, at least 5% above the world price. That is the reality. And if it's jewelry, you are not going to make no less than 20% above the world price. That is even at manufacturers say price before it comes to retail. And that is where we have the majority of the trading going on. So for a country, PMC has the biggest refinery, I'll say, in West Africa at the moment. It has a capacity of almost 400 kilos per day. How are we going to mine responsibly so that we feed this plant? So that the country can get the ultimate from it. If we don't do our work as miners, then with all this devastation that we are seeing, at the end, it's not going to augur well for the country. I would, as a buyer, dealing internationally, would not buy most of the gold being produced by the small-scale miners. Because the kind of refineries that we deal with are all certified refineries. And in the same way, PMC cannot buy your gold because you have not mined responsibly. And yesterday I said, Bank of Ghana, a whole central bank, had difficulties from June to a few weeks ago to export the gold, the little gold, 630 kilos that they exported. If we are not careful, PMC also face the same thing. So let's look at it. And there's another issue about the way we have militarized the operations. Now, the LBMS, they see us like Congo. Because the questions they ask is, if you are not fighting, if those in the bush are not armed, why are you pushing soldiers at the site? Everything is about motivation. The farmer selling the cocoa farm to the miner, it's cash motivation. How much is the government paying to the farmers? 60% discount. When he can sell the gold from the cocoa farm at maybe 3 or 5% discount. It's motivation. We should look at the government paying the right amount to the cocoa farmers. It's something that has to, because all the benefits goes to Accra. The cocoa areas, what do we see? The good hospitals are in the cocoa areas, are supposed. The good schools are there. All the infrastructures and everything are there. And your children are in the best and enjoying. It doesn't work like that. So we as a nation should have to look into all this and see that, look, the human beings that have been put there to implement these things, because the laws are there. Where the laws are, because the law makes it clear that if there's gold here, the farmer has no control to stop the government from putting somebody there to it. If we need to change it, let's change it. The law makes it that 100 meters from the stream, or even dredging, you can dredge from the Dungo dredges. We all did attachment those days. There was no pollution as we are seeing today. Well, the technology has been there. But people are refusing to really, be patriotic. And they are doing all manner of things. But for this system to be purely integrated into our economy, these are the issues we must handle. Let's look critically into that. Look, the solutions are there. It's just that human beings are not applying them. As I said, the EPA. On the what basis do you always renew people's licenses? When we go to the bush every day, I have trained miners from Boga in the 90s to date. You go there, you see it. And on what basis do you renew their EPA license yearly? And what does the Minerals Commission also do when you are seeing site devastation? Now I think enough is enough. We've come to a point, this program must be the final point. We are not coming here again. Right. If it's to talk about this, we are not coming. Okay. When we come here, we know that these are the things that have done. PMC is finding all the gold, even from the whole of West Africa. And the country is moving forward. And maximizing on its gold production. Thank you very much.
Thank you too. So, we are moving on. I think we'll finish the panel, then if there are comments from the floor, we'll take them here. So the next person is Rep of Ghana National Association of Small Scale Miners. 7 minutes, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Tampoa Robert, representing the Ghana National Small Scale Miners Association. To add other value to our natural resources in this country, the initiative started now with the government is something that we, the players, as a small-scale miner in the industry, are so happy that because all the time our product is always a raw material that we have been selling out, and like my brother is saying, the price, the person will be buying maybe the discount, maybe 10% or 15% down, and you will not get all the other value. But now that the government has decided to get a refining center in this country, we realize that all the other minerals involved in gold, because even though it's gold, but if it does the refining, there's other minerals that you can get out of you have the silver and the other minerals in the gold, which when you are selling it outside or in the raw material, you will not get that benefit. But here is the case that we all need to do sustainable mining, as my brother was saying, because they were suspecting that the gold that produced in the country, not all the gold that is coming from Ghana. Other than that, where are we having that stock? Where do we mine and have that reserve there to sell out? And the Bank of Ghana was finding it difficult to sell it out to the international body. But we believe that with sustainable mining and all the institutions are ready to regularize their activities to let the miners do the sustainable mining. Wherever that the small scale miners are mining and comes out with the gold, it will be accepted all over the world. And that will be plus to the small scale miners. Because what is happening is that if you were to spend about 1,000 cedis for mining and later on you go and say, now if you are selling it in the market, you can get about 1,005. It's a plus to the. But what we are looking for, we are urging the government that let's make, if the initiative that they have started making this geological surveyors or doing the prospecting all over to see where there's a deposit for the small scale miners to go there, so that they will not be going around digging here and there or spending their money on the areas that being gazetted for small scale mining. Some of us suffer areas that have been gazetted for you, the small scale miner. You go in for the lances. At long last, you have finished everything, you start mining. And when you get there, especially those who are doing the Adovia work, you may go down there, dig, get to the gravel all there. All what that you are doing there, only you hire excavator, fuel, the number of workers that you employ to do the job, all. By the end of it, you will not get anything. But it is good that now that we all realize that since 2017, if you look at the map that my brother was showing, see how the small scale miners are contributing the gold production in this country. It's very significant. And if we continue it that way and we have a land to mine, and there's no interference of the military or the police or the security agencies, and wherever that we are doing the mining, everybody will accept it genuinely that, look, the small scale miners in the industry are doing their work proper, and it will be accepted across the world. And I believe that this is the only way. And the other thing is finance. And I'm happy that the government has decided to bring mercury-free this machine, because we're all talking about the mercury, because sometimes you can make money and at the same time people are suffering with sickness. So when we get the mercury-free machines and get capital to push it, and I believe that the government will not be afraid to support the small-scale miners, because they have put in money to do the the drilling, to know where the deposit is. So if they have given any land to the small-scale miners to mine, they know that there is gold deposit there. So if I even give any amount to support the small-scale mine, they know definitely they'll be able to pay back, and it will help the mine. And at the same time, it will create employment for the country, because in this country, everybody is crying for employment. But if you look at the small-scale mining sector, they employ more than all the other institutions in this country, or other organizations or companies in this country, because it cuts across the whole country. Even with areas that people are not even mining gold, people travel to the areas that others mine gold, and they're being employed under the small-scale mining activities. So I believe that we plead with the government that this initiative that you are taking to help us and get the refining center in the country. But the small-scale miners are agreed, because the leadership, we have agreed to sign an agreement with the government to do that one. So I know everybody's we're in support, and we need to do the sustainable mining so that we can make a headway. So I believe that the government will support us in that direction, and then we can add value to our natural resources in this country. Thank you. I don't know what I'm fine.
Thank you. All right. So let's don't forget the topic. How do we integrate small-scale mining into the economy? Challenges, benefits, and prospects, or experiences and prospects. So we'll move on to the fourth speaker, CEO, Water Resource Commission.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Benampuma is my name, and as you indicated, I'm the Executive Secretary of the Water Resources Commission. Yeah, in relation to the topic on hand, that has to do with integrating small-scale mining into the economy, looking at the challenges, experiences, and of course the prospects. I will look at the issue from the impacts of small-scale mining and other, resource uses in terms of livelihoods, and how we can put out some suggestions with a view to ensure that this element of impacts, be it negative, can be mitigated, and also, as it were, improve on how small-scale mining would contribute better to the use of our resources. Specifically, I would focus on water, which is a major input for small-scale mining, and also for other economic uses in the country, for which it has that impact. We heard yesterday, and we've also looked at some of the pictures in terms of the impact, so I wouldn't really belabor that point. But the fact is that it has impacts in terms of the economy. If you look at water supply, for instance, it has an impact on it, agricultural water use, and also for industrial. It has a lot of impacts on that. So how do we deal with it? One suggestion that we need to focus on has to do with technologies. The technologies that small-scale mining companies would use. One has to do with introducing technology that restrain or control their use with respect to siltation and sedimentation, and its impact in terms of transport into our water sources. Because of the existing technologies that they use, they, as it were, increase the siltation and If we're able to introduce that, and I know there are steps to do that, these technologies that would really improve or mitigate the restraint in terms of sedimentation, transport, it will really serve us better. The next also has to do with the introduction and use of conservation techniques. The use of conservation techniques. We should not assume that the water is available so we can always use this as we want. It would be good to put in incentives or conservation techniques and ensure, even with the fact that we are now looking at the issues of recycling, how can we put in techniques like that for them to be able to use with a view to conserve our waters. And we can give out some form of incentives, introduce to them, leverage on them for able to do that. The next one, Mr. Chairman, the last one, that point that I want to talk about has to do with conflict resolution, respect to small-scale mining and other uses. For instance, agricultural water use and then industrial water use. We need to fashion out a way to, as it were, resolve potential conflicts that normally comes out when we have small-scale miners using resources, in our case water, which is limited, and for which other potential uses also would also want to rely on. And it comes up very often. We need to define and have some form of a model, an allocation model that will reduce this element going forward. So, Chairman, those are the 3 points that I want to talk on. Thank you very much.
Thank you to Water Resource. So he's telling us that, well, we want small-scale mining to be part of the economy, but we shouldn't forget that it should coexist with water, which is life, and improve technology, recycling, and how to resolve the conflict. So if we do that, then the small-scale mining can continue. And we'll still get our water to drink, and we'll not be importing water from. Somebody said we import water from Côte d'Ivoire. Burkina, do they have water there? But you know, I don't know whether it is they work from Ghana or from there, but when you get to Abidjan, most of their small rivers are also just like ours in Ghana. You won't see the water color. It's brown or something like that. Yes. Because they are also there. So we cannot get the water from them to even import. Maybe we'll have to go to the US. All right, so we'll move on to the fifth speaker, Mr. Daniel Bohama, Executive Director, Geological Survey.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, and good afternoon to all of you. I'm Seydou Alidou from Ghana Geological Survey Authority. My Director General was unable to be here due to unforeseen circumstances. He has to ask me to come. So please, his apology. Ghana Geological Survey Authority used to be called Ghana Geological Survey Department until 2016, when an act of parliament was passed to convert the then department to an authority by an act of parliament, Act 928. And the act on which the authority is operating states that the Geological Survey Authority is to advise government on matters related to geology. In this regard, we are looking at minerals exploration, geological hazards, geotechnical investigations, seismological issues. When I say seismological issues, I'm talking about earthquakes
We are also looking at all other minerals, not only gold. We are looking at hydrogeological. When I say hydrogeological, we are looking at groundwater. Also, we are supposed to do a lot of foundation investigations prior to the construction of major infrastructure buildings, dams. So our mandate is very, very broad. Now, when we look at geological investigation, we are looking at mapping of rocks, knowing what is underneath the earth. What rock is there? What is the structure? If you look at the rock itself, it also has a chemical composition, and we call that the geochemical character of the rock, because it's made up of minerals, both rock-forming minerals and very precious minerals. And each mineral is made up of certain elements, so it's a combination of elements that makes up a particular mineral. There are some minerals which stand out alone as an element, like gold. But there are some other minerals which are a combination of elements. So as we carry out geological mapping, we take rocks, we send them to laboratory, we analyze for their chemical composition. We also do soil sampling, because it is these rocks that weather into soils. So if you do the analysis, you'll be able to know that soils in this area have elevated composition higher than what the background is supposed to be. And then you go back and ask yourself, what is happening? Is it anthropogenic? When I say anthropogenic, is it human induced or geogenic? Is it the natural occurrence of that material? If it is geogenic, then it's possible. If it is high, then it's telling you that this is not normal. And in mineral exploration, when an element which is geogenic is not normal, it is of interest. Because if you take any geological material and you analyze, you will find a small amount of gold in it. You will find a small amount of bismuth in it. You will find a small amount of arsenic in it. But if the concentration is higher than a particular level, meaning that that particular rock has anomalous value of that element, and it is of interest to a geologist, a mineral explorationist, any other person who is interested in minerals. So we do that analysis. So that is the kind of work we do. Now back to the topic on the table, integrating ASM. How do we do our ASM activity here? I think the matter is simple if we look at what we have in the large-scale sector. Even though we may have problems there as well, but I think if we use the template a bit from the large-scale sector, I don't think we'll be talking much about these problems we are hammering on ASM. Why do I say that? When an ASM operator or somebody who is interested in doing an ASM mining, you will find a piece of land somewhere, you move to a district office of Minerals Commission, you send the points there, you tell them that, okay, these coordinates, I'm interested in that area to mine a particular mineral, in this case gold. So they carry out all the procedure, and then they say, okay, fine, go and then mine. I think there's a problem with that. Because the area you are talking about or you are interested in, do you know
how it is, the structure, the rock, the minerals in it, how the grade, because I talked about the concentrations. So you go and dig and you are not, you don't get what you expect and you leave it. But if we look at what the large-scale people do, they also apply for licensing. But before even they apply for license, if you tell him this area, he will rush to a geological survey or a geological consultant and ask him, please, what reports do you have in this area? Both reports and maps. And those things are in the repository of geological survey, because that's what we are paid to do. We are supposed to do geological investigations. As I speak, we have geophysical data covering the whole country, and we use the taxpayers' money. We put equipment on aircraft. We flew the entire country, and we have gathered the geophysical data in maps and in reports. Since 1913, when the Geological Survey then was established, we have conducted a lot of geological mapping work. That's how come we've been able to know that, no, we have places called Birimian, and we have areas we call Voltaian. I'll be surprised if somebody will tell me here that, okay, somebody has asked him, go and do some galamsey work in Accra or Greater Accra region. Go and then prospect for gold. I'll be surprised. Why? Because there is a geological knowledge, rock type knowledge, which suggests that Accra, no good area. You are just wasting your money. You won't go. Voltaian. If I say Voltaian, for those of us, it is a sedimentary area which is big. It covers about 40% of the country. And it is, I can mention areas, geographic areas to guide us. Of course, when you are coming from Accra to Kumasi, the Nkoko Scarp, some of them, they are all Voltaian. Up to the Afram Plains area, Agogo area, Kintampo area, Tamale, they are all Voltaian. Kufuridia area, they are all Voltaian sedimentary rocks. Nobody goes there to mine. Now, when we come to where we call the Birimian.
So you should be landing.
Okay, so then let me just say. So what I'm trying to drive at is that you need to conduct geological investigation. These are regionalized informations. So once you are given a permit, you're supposed to do geological investigation. This one will give you the geometry of an area. If the geometry of the ore body, or if there is no ore body at all, it means you should abandon it. Even though you have asked for license or you have applied for license, it means it saves you some cost. Then again, once you have done geological investigation, proper geological investigation, you are able to produce what we call bankable document from the geological investigation, because it is certified by a professional geologist who is telling us that when I drilled, this is the grade, it is about 4 grams per ton, and this is the depth, this is the weight, everything. And if I'm mining, it will take me 4 to 10 years to mine. You have all this very detailed, and that is what foreign investors do, and they send it to foreign stock exchange. They don't use their own money. And you see that because of the document, you have people or investors rushing. We can use the same and use it to invite our banks, and they can do that. So that is the geological perspective to integrating this ASM into our economy. Thank you very much.
So the gist of your presentation is that they should consult you to know where. But if somebody is doing something which is illegal, how will they do a consultation? That's the challenge. So that's why the formalization comes in. But how accessible are you? Where can we find you? Accra? Because somebody said not all of us know Accra. There are some people in this Bono region who don't even know Sunyani, although they are in Bono region.
Okay.
Yeah, because if you don't have any business in Sunyani, why should you come?
Yeah, we have office in Sunyani.
No, but let's know so that.
Okay, because.
So perhaps those who give the license should have asked, have you consulted the geological, and generally they should show evidence that yes, they have a consultation before they are given the approval to go and start digging. But it looks as if the local people have their own way of mapping the minerals. I'm sure they have some black powers that they stand here and know that there's gold and they pick it. Okay, so our last panelist is Professor Emmanuel. Godric Holdings. Is it a company or something?
Yes.
And he's also in UNE. He used to be in UDS and he went to UTAX and now he's in UNE. So 7 minutes.
All right. Thank you, my former boss. I don't know which of the coat I'm going to wear now. UNEL, Godric. My life has been 50 years in the industry, 15 years in the industry, 15 years in academia. But the seat I'm sitting on now is for Godric Holdings. The issue that we're going to this is how do we integrate ASM into the economy of Ghana? And the first question I asked, not here, but before making this presentation, was that Ghana exported 2 billion worth of gold to Dubai in 2017. But the customs of Dubai also reported 7 billion worth of gold. A deficit of what? 5 billion US dollars. So, when Godric sat down and did this sort of analysis, we realized that there is something wrong somewhere. So, we need to find a way to integrate the ASM into the economy of Ghana. Maybe there are certain ways that the gold managed to leave the shores of Ghana not being accounted for. Therefore, could there be a way that as a private person, so that the sector can be formalized and then be regulated, so that all the amount of gold that the ASM are producing can be of benefit to the country. So this morning, two of our presenters talk on formalization, but the one that I want to talk a bit about is the dilemma of what? Of ASM. The point is, I think we are closer to the solution more than we being in that particular dilemma. I didn't want to break the news here, but the board member of Minerals Commission mentioned that there's a private company that has signed a PPP agreement with Mineral Investment Income Fund, and that is Godric. Godric has been able to raise from his international partners 500 million US dollars to formalize the small scale of industry. And the reason why they are so much interested in spending this money in the formalization is that they have realized that Ghana will have the gold in about, will not be able to sell it, because the London Bullion Market Association will not want to buy gold that have an association or has a link with drug or is being mined not through a responsible mining approach. Godric currently is doing, as first step was to sign an agreement with the small scale association, which through that particular meeting we were able to communicate to them the plans of what? Of Godric. In all dialogues that we have been to, the bottom line is hinged on what? On funding and logistics. So what Godric is trying to do for this small scale is to provide them with what? With equipment and then funding, so that they can do what? Responsible mining. And they have a portion for trading, which I think we, the universities, can also level on to train the people. So, in a nutshell, I don't want to talk too much about it, because there's going to be a day for what? For launching, and all these things that I'm talking about now will become what? Public knowledge. So there is what? Light at the end of what? Of the tunnel. Thank you.
Thank you very much, panelists. I don't know why all of us here are men. We were told that the women also do ASM. So we'll be having a 20 minutes, according to the program, for questions and answers. So where are the guys on the floor, so that the questions will come and you direct your question to a particular panelist. And please just ask questions, don't make statements. Ask questions.
Hello.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, if I may,
Okay.
whilst we wait for the first question, I think that this topic and this conversation is very, very crucial. Again, because of the fact that if you take a look at what is happening within the global market in terms of the gold trade, without formalization, we are eventually going to get to a point where Ghana gold will be banned for sale on the international market. That is the reality on the ground. And this year, we saw some manifestation of that. As an example, for so many years, for decades, Dubai, you send gold there, they don't really mind where it is coming from and all they care about is that the gold has entered. And yet Dubai has very strict rules on the purchase of gold jewelry, to the extent that no one individual can buy more than 50,000 dirhams of gold in a year and live with it. No. Very strict rules. But as to the gold coming in, that one, free for all. And for some years now, the international community has been on the back of Dubai, UAE, complaining that you need to check your system in terms of the receipt of gold. You go to Dubai, there are refineries that have been in existence for over 90 years, 100 years. El Etihad refinery has been there for over 100 years. And yet, El Etihad refinery is not an LBMA certified refinery, simply because of these issues of responsible mining, which leads to responsible sourcing. Effective February this year, today, attempt to send 1 kilogram of gold to Dubai. And you'll be amazed at the paperwork that you need to complete, to the point that you need to indicate which mine the gold came from. That is the reality on the ground. So we are eventually going to get to a point where, if we do not take effective steps to ensure that this formalization comes into reality, all our gold will remain here and we cannot monetize it because of that. And we don't have the market here. We don't have the market here. Thank you.
He's not scaring us, he's telling us the truth. Our cocoa is suffering a similar situation, fate.
Yeah. All right, thank you so much.
That is why we are using child labor. So because of that, they will prefer to take artificial cocoa instead of natural cocoa. And it's not just that, even our agri products. if you don't have certification, how do you send your product to the international market? So you have to. And I was just asking him, if we cannot sell the gold, what happened? You know the other way of selling. They will smuggle it. And the country will not benefit from it. That is the problem. So if we want the country to benefit from it and to create the jobs we are looking for, then we have to do the right thing. Okay, so we have very limited time. Yes, question. First question. Where is the mic? Yes.
Thank you very much.
Whom are you directing your question to?
To Prof. Provine.
Okay.
Prof, you
just one question.
Yes,
straightforward.
You just mentioned that Ghana has had $500 million from international partners to help formalize, the sector. You mentioned 500 million. Yes, I want to know what is going to go into the formalization, because in 2004, Ghana was the first to sign a VPA FLEC-T arrangement for us to get a FLEC-T license over the years, almost 15 to 16 years. We still don't have the license. Yes, so what is really going to go into this? What are the timelines for this $500 million to really do what it's supposed to do?
All right, thank you very much. By point of correction, it's not Ghana that had gone in for that. It's a private person, okay? And we are collaborating with Mineral Investment Fund. That was the condition that the international financiers suggested, that there should be a government entity to monitor, all right? And I'm surprised, ASM, Nassim.
I will help him more with this one. We met last year at the Marathon Hotel and signed an agreement with Godric for building a refining center in this country so that we can add at 8 years. So what he is saying, I'm much aware about the initiative that the Godric took, and is in conjunction with the government to give us the certification, as he's saying, so that they can do it. So what he's saying, that it is Ghanaian who went outside to solicit get other sponsors to help him to start that business in the country.
Godric is an upstream bullion buyer. He has an office in Dubai, an office in US, and the head office is in Ghana. And I'm surprised your leadership are not broken this thing down to you. So far, we found out from Minerals Commission that there are 1,800 small-scale companies that are fully registered with the commission. And the plan for Godric is to start with 400 of these small-scale operators. And what we want to do, since we want to look into this formalization, we are going to provide 2 excavators, 1 dump truck, and then a plan for each of these 400. Besides, we are going to give you the technical know-how in terms of exploration and everything. But as he said, everything that we do has to be traceable. So at any stage of the work, okay, we will insert a chip so that the final gold that is obtained from your end, when it gets to Dubai or London bullion market, they will just scan it, and then it will let them know where the gold is coming from. Because they want the world is looking towards green gold. We don't want any gold that has problems in our situation.
Okay, so they want legalized, responsible mined gold. Okay, and we have these black minerals from conflict areas, so it's part of this reason why they are doing that. Right? Yes.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
About the same.
It's about the same issue. Their collaboration with the MIF. We need to look critically into this. You want the government, and the government is going to guarantee for a particular finance to support the industry. But you don't go into such a venture without actually getting commitment from the part of the miners. First and foremost, what we need to look at is the mining company, the small scale mining company there, are their personnel trained very well to handle the mining? How are they working? Who does the certification? Because we need to look at that. Because audit must come in, and certification must also come in place. And after that, then you can really verify that, look, they qualify to be given equipment to work responsibly. But if it's a matter of just, and these things, as I said, let's bring in the professionals. We have tens of thousands of students in the mining sector. So let's make it a condition that all these companies must apply these professionals. Because no matter what, they have mined in a certain way. So they have their mindset in a certain way. It will not be that simple to change that mindset overnight. But when you have a direct supervisory role through assignees who will be the mining mineral engineers and geologists and others, I believe that they as professionals will make sure that they do the right thing. So we cannot work in isolation. The whole issue is about the downstream. What has to be done? We have 1 million workers in that sector. There is no way the government can, even in 20 years, give them an alternative way. It's not that simple. But if we are going to continue to do it, then let's do it in the right manner. It's not a matter of giving them equipment. We have done that. Our chamber has done that in the past years. PMMC, we started financing them in the past years. And then we had to close our offices in Boga and Wa. And you are aware of all these issues. Because...
Okay, all right. So let's leave it here.
Prof.
No, let's allow the audience.
No, but Prof, if you allow me.
No, what I'm saying now is that it's like.
Let me clear so that because I'm a direct person in the industry.
Yes.
And things we work together.
1 minute to
yes,
say
we work together. Let me tell you, I'm not an engineer, but my experience over 20-something years in hard rock. Prof is here. Amankwa. Some of us, when we're in the field and we're doing the job, you may think that I'm an engineer. Meanwhile, I'm not. And we have other training from other people that will help us in the industry. So it shouldn't look like maybe if somebody is giving a support to the small scale miners, they doesn't know how to use the equipment to make sure that the mine is all.
Okay. So the issue here is, don't forget, please, hold on. The question is, how do we integrate the small scale mining business into the economy? The challenges. This is one of the challenges you're having. Not being able to cooperate and come out with a straight way. Yes, it's a challenge.
Yeah.
The experiences is what he has talked about. Now, what is the prospect is there. And I just made mention of cocoa. We've not been thinking of it. But very soon we'll produce the cocoa. And that's why the countries are becoming smart. They are also forming an association. So if they are not buying from Ghana, they can buy from Nigeria, they can buy from Togo. You saw it on the news recently. There are about 16 of them. Everybody producing cocoa in Africa is coming together to form one body. So you can't so you'll be forced to buy. But then you must also do what they want you to do. Yeah. So here, I think the issue is, I was just asking, what about if they don't need an excavator? Because I don't think they would need an excavator in Bolga because it's a hand. They would need a different equipment. So let's give the ask for.
Can I explain this?
No. Please hold on. Otherwise, we won't get a chance to get
because what he's saying is not the model.
No. Praise.
That sort of thing.
You are like business partners.
We are.
They are a government one. You are a private one. There will be that friction there, and you will succeed on their weakness, but you work together, synergy. That's one problem we have. There's a particular authority in this country which is not performing well because instead of empowering other people to help them to do the work, they want to do it by themselves. And they are not everywhere. So every now and then, they go out and cause some stage performance and then they go back to their shells. If I'm messing them now, you will know whom I'm talking about. You know them, yeah? I won't tell you, some of you are journalists. The person just turned the question, the statement, Ghana got 500 million, tomorrow it become headline. That's not what he said. You should see him before you go and write that.
My my question is
Okay.
to Mr. Seidu Aminu.
Okay.
My question is, if you have this wealth of data concerning where our gold is, why are we having a number of small-scale miners digging blindly and destroying our natural resources?
He's keeping the data in his office. The small scale miners are doing their thing in their bush. That's the problem. There should be a way that before, I said it, before you go and dig a place looking for gold, you must have shown an evidence that you've consulted these people. And they told you there's gold here. As you said, I don't think anybody will go and start digging the Sunyani market that is mining gold.
Okay,
Because
Mr.
there's
Thank you,
nothing.
Mr. Chairman.
So that is the point.
I don't think I said that. You see, what happens is that we have a mandate. We are doing geological mapping. And as we do the mapping and we do the soil sampling, we pick first what we call anomalies. 2, we pick what we call occurrences. And for any a mineral explorationist or any investor, that's what we call it, is a promotional data. Because occurrences are what guides you to now do what we call targeting. So if we do a geological mapping of an area, say the whole of Sunyani area, we pick out areas we call anomalous areas and put it in a report and maps. It doesn't mean, for instance, if you take the major belt in Ghana, gold belt, which we call the Ashanti gold belt, at least we know for now that we have at least 4 big mines on it. Now, it is a gold belt, right from Axim. That is what we call the Takwa mine. Then you have Damang. Then you have Obuasi. Then you have Konongo before it goes under the Voltaire. Birim Gofus, they all work there. They did exploration there. Once you do the exploration and you realize that the occurrence that you have got, it is of low grade or even it's nothing. Sometimes when it is low, then ASM people will take. So it means this data is supposed to guide for them to do actual detailed work. It's not about once geological data is there everywhere, then we have it and everywhere is good. No, that's not what I meant.
You see, my point here is, I was trying to help you in answering the question. You have the data, but they never consult you, and then they go and start doing what they want to do. It's like the building we have been doing. I was asking this, the land, country and land planning department, or what are they? Before you build, they should tell you this place is not good for building because it's a waterway. But they don't do it, so you go and put up your house and the flood will come and you are in trouble. So now the issue is, how will they make themselves very accessible to this group so that they will not just be digging anywhere? I was just telling him that if you come to Tamale to solve water problem with boreholes, I will laugh at you. Well, you can dig how many kilometers, you won't get water. But some places, if you are lucky, you get the water. Other places, you go to Bolga and Wa, and you easily get underground water, and you use it. But Tamale, we are not getting it. Nyampala, where the university started from, they tried it. This year, we finally got some water, which is more salty, or saltier, if there's a term like that, than the sea. So it's not the same, you can't use the same rule everywhere. And that's why they are very important in controlling how we degrade our land. You will go and dig this, create a surface, destroy the cocoa trees, and at the end of the day, you don't get any gold there. What you should have there, you have destroyed it. Now what are you getting? Then you move away. So we should know that for effective integration, the Geological Survey Department, or now they said they are authority, they should also be involved. Yes, next question. Yeah.
Yes, my question goes to the Chamber of Mines CEO. Now that it's going to be
Bulon.
Now that they said they have a refining machine in Accra, which means we are going to have small-scale miners coming in more. And in your submission, you say EPA only signed permits. Now that they are coming more, and EPA only signed
permits, what should EPA do? Shouldn't they sign their permits? Because small-scale mining are accusing us that we don't sign their permits because they don't meet the conditions. Here you are also saying we only sign permits. And signing a permit is not only EPA's who does it. It's a chain. It's a process that they go through before it comes to EPA for permit. For example, let's take UDS. When they wanted to construct their building, they came for permit. And we said, no, they have to change the land use because that place was a state farm. Now, if we had refused to sign that permit for the fact that it was a government project, what would have happened to me by this time?
You would have lost your job, so that's why you sign it, when you know that is wrong.
Yeah, no, you...
No. That's not the argument. Yes,
no,
because you have to put your...
question.
Ask
the question.
Yes, the point is do the right thing. Don't say because of this. And that's where we are,
Prof,
so please, let me answer the question.
You would have told, you were the chancellor by then, you would have told my friend, we can't lose this money coming from World Bank. Because sometimes you, the government, or the heads from the government sector.
Well, that's where we are. No? So, yes,
so don't complain that EPA, we are only signing permits because you are part of the problem. And protecting the environment is not the only mandate for, because the Constitution says that all citizens of Ghana should do what? Protect. And we are to co-manage the environment. So don't put always the blame that EPA sign permits and what are they doing. If they don't have relevance, tell government that they don't have relevance, they scrap them off from the system.
Thank you very much. I think Mr. EPA man, it's been taken in good faith.
Yeah.
I think I have also been in your position in the past, working in those same areas.
So I don't think you sign because you'll be fired.
But
you go home and your conscience will not allow you to sleep.
But I believe that since you are
next
working with the Minerals Commission, I mean, you need to coordinate.
But on the serious note, praise gentlemen and ladies, on the serious note, from what I'm hearing here, if we don't formalize and process the gold according to, because as he said, what do we use the gold for? How much of it do we use? Except the chiefs who use some small to do the ring and this thing, that's all. How much of gold do we use in Ghana? We need to sell it out. And if you don't produce it the way that we can sell it, we will produce and it will be sitting here. So these small-scale miners, if you are not careful, you'll be forced out of business. Because if you produce and you can't sell, once upon a time, they were cutting shea trees in the north to grow mango. Only for them to realize that they can't sell the mango anywhere because it's not certified. So you go to ShopRite and the mango in ShopRite is coming from South Africa. Because the Ghanaian mango is not certified. When we are talking about certification, it's not emotions. Where do you grow the mango? Where do you grow the pawpaw? Go to ShopRite and pick a pawpaw or a banana and see the stamp on it. It's coming from South Africa. Don't we grow them here? We have the land, but we are not looking at this agricultural chain, and that is what is happening with the minerals. Once you don't have the IOS certification, you produce, but you cannot even sell in your own supermarket, let alone export it anywhere. We heard recently about Sudan 4 in, palm nut oil. And it is not just now. It happened I was in the UK then, that there was a scenario like that. And it was just one out of the lot, they saw it, and they banned the whole lot of the palm oil coming to the UK. And what do you do with the palm oil in Ghana? Apart from cooking with it and making soap. So please, let's not take it at this level. Let's do what will be right to be able to integrate this into the economy. Otherwise, like if our central bank cannot sell their gold reserve to solve problem, who are you to sell yours? You cannot. Perhaps maybe the Chinese will smuggle it and go and find a way, and they will give you peanut. They will pay you 100 of what you should get. Is that not it? Yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Hello. I'm trying to find out from Professor I and then that of the PMMC man. You are talking about this funding that you are talking that you have secured from somewhere, and you want to support the small-scale miners. Those of us from Upper West, we feel sometimes that we are being neglected or being abandoned. And in terms of documentation and then getting other things to work, we tried in several ways, and they see us as people that are not supposed to be part of the system. So when we are talking like this, our fear is that how are we going to be part of the system so that it can work out for us? So we're asking about the enabling system they're going to create for us, so that the disadvantaged people can also be part of this activity. How are you going to give us that assurance that this can be done in an open form for us, not in the usual kind of Ghanaian way, that if you are not on top of issues, you can be part of the system?
Okay. Are you a member of the association?
Let me answer him. My younger brother, sometimes you have a representative who always comes for the meetings. I don't expect Prof to answer this question when I'm sitting here. My chairman, the chairman from WA, was part of the agreement that we signed. And the chairman of Boli was there. I was there. The agreement that we signed, all what that we went through with Godric, I'm much aware about it. So it is the leadership. If they have gone for any meeting and they have not come back to your place to brief you, I don't think we should blame. Maybe we as leaders are not doing our work as leaders. After getting the information, you need to come and call your followers to brief them that since we went for this meeting, this is the way it is about. Then everybody can understand. So it is not, we are working in hand with them to solve this problem, how we can support and add value to the natural resources in this country.
Okay, so thank you very much. I think I heard one of the people say that they have offices in all over the country. Is it the small scale?
Yes,
yeah.
All the 10 regions.
Now to 16 regions, please.
16, but I'm talking about the 10. Because I'm saying 10 because I'm overseeing Northeast. I'm a chairman, but I'm still a chairman for Northeast. So it's part of this. So when I'm talking, we still have 10. Like this, we have for we small scale, we still have some we added together.
You are right. Some of the regions don't even have gold, so don't worry.
Thank you.
Yes, so I think the last question, perhaps you have to find out more information from your executives so that you know what is going on. But again, as I said, let's know that it is a must. It's like if you want to work in an office like any of us, you have to go to school and get a certificate. If you don't go to school and get a certificate, you cannot get a job I'm doing. But in Ghana, people don't go to school, but they want to do my job. Yeah, they believe they can see somebody and do the job. And that is it. I was reading somewhere 90% of A levels for admission were fake. How did that happen? Just today on the Ghana web, 90% of the A level results that they use for admission were fake. So this is somebody who has never been to school but he has an A level. Or he couldn't finish JHS. And when you get to the place where you want to go, what will you do? It will be some different story. Yes, we are wrapping up because we have...
Mr. Chairman, my question goes to PMC. It's a very laudable idea to have refinery exporting to Switzerland and others. But currently we have 3 refineries in the country. They are all non-functional. They are white elephant, not working. I want to find out from you how you are going to address these challenges. Because upon our research, we realized that they didn't have enough working capital. They didn't have it at all. And the cost of the country doesn't make it viable for them to operate. And the secondary, lack of supply of gold. Your refinery have a capacity of 400 kilos. If you work for 20 days, you are talking about 8 tons per month. 8 tons times 12 is 96 tons. Small scale and large scale combined is a little over 100 kilos. It's a little over 100 tons. So I don't know how you are going to manage your 400 kilos per day. And then thirdly, there's no law enforcing mining companies to refine before they ship outside. So how are you going to address all these challenges so you don't suffer the same fate like the 3 refineries which are in the country are now being discussed as white elephants.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ifa. Thank you very much, Mr. Ifa. Just to address your questions, I don't know about 3 refineries. What I do know is that there was Asa Vasa, which is collapsed. Sahara, I'm not sure is functional right now. The only other viable refinery is the Gold Coast refinery. Now, I did mention that PMC is involved in the establishment, the established first state-owned refinery. But in the months and years leading to the establishment of this refinery, of course, Gold Coast Refinery also came up. And in the engagement with the sector ministry, which essentially is the policy formulation unit of when it comes to natural resources for this country, they made it clear that yes, PMC is involved in the only state-owned refinery in Ghana. However, government is bent on supporting all other existing refineries. So what it is that PMC and Royal Ghana Gold, which is the name of the refinery, is not going to be the only beneficiary of government support when it comes to value addition or mineral processing. Gold Coast is also going to be supported in terms of that. I know that my good friend Sledge is also working, represented by Prof. Ayin here, is also working at putting up a refinery. I don't know where they are on that, but I can say that government's intention is to support refineries to thrive. Because if you look at the figures in terms of the quantities of gold that leave this country every month, there will be more than enough gold to feed all of these refineries. That's one. And 2, the issue of capacity. Yes, it is true that it has a capacity, a daily capacity of 400 kilograms of gold per day. Gold Coast is about 160 kilograms, it's not up to 200. So combined, you're not even doing 600 kilograms of gold per day. But then again, question is, the fact that you have a capacity of 400 kilograms does not mean that you'll be operating at full capacity every day. It depends on supply. So whatever gold is available is what will pass through the refinery and eventually come out as refined gold. This refinery, which I can speak to because I was involved from the very beginning, uses 2 technologies. 1, aquaresia, 2, electrolysis. And it has the capacity to even refine to the extent of extracting palladium. That is how sophisticated the technology is. And this is prime Italian technology that have been installed over there. And so as to its sophistication and modernity, in order to meet current demands, global demands on refinery standards, we've got it. Now let me come to the question of supply. Interestingly, it was one of the things, of course, you can't just get up and build a refinery if you are not sure where your gold is going to come from, or you are not guaranteed as to supply. And so, right from the beginning, and for those who don't know, I'm a lawyer by profession. That is my professional background. So question then was, how do you ensure that there is that legal framework in order to facilitate supply to the refineries? So we set out to look out for, one, is there an existing legislation that we can leverage on in order to guarantee supply? If the answer to that question is yes, then we just proceed with implementation. If the answer to that question is no, then the next step would be, how do we ensure that that legislation is there? And when we did the research, we found that indeed there is already an existing legislation which government can rely on to ensure that there is constant supply to the refineries. And this is in the Minerals and Mining Act. If you look at the Minerals and Mining Act, it says, first of all, let's start from the Constitution. The Constitution says that all minerals in this country are vested in the President of this Republic on behalf and for the benefit of the people of this country. And then you come to the Minerals and Mining Act, and it, in fact, ditto, it reproduces this constitutional provision. And then again in the Minerals and Mining Act, it says that government has a preemptory right over all minerals that are won in Ghana. What does this mean? If you have a preemptory right, it simply means you have the first option to purchase. That is all it means. You have the first option to purchase. And so, by design, the framers of that 2006 or 2007 legislation knew that we were going to get to a point where there will be the need to promote value addition in country. And therefore, there had already been legislative provision made in order to facilitate that. So, sometime 2 years ago, conversation began as to how to exercise that preemptory right. And then, the question then was, who will be government agent for the exercise of that preemptory right? Then, what was agreed upon was that PMMC is going to act as government's agent for the exercise of that preemptory right. So if tomorrow, Newmont, Anglo Gold, or even a small-scale miner, you produce the gold, in the license that is given to you, one of the conditions will be that government will purchase that gold that you are producing. In any case, from what I understand, if you look at the license now, it says that if required, you, the miner, will make available a portion of your production to a refinery in Ghana. It is there. If it's not there, tell me. It is there. So, in essence, as to the regime or the legislative provisions to facilitate the guarantee of supply to the refineries, it is there. It's only a matter of implementation. Thank you.
That is where the crux of the matter is. How to implement that portion of the room. Yes, because this same month, we heard a cry from the poultry farmers when they were going to increase the price of egg, that they can't get soya bean because all the soya processing companies in Ghana have closed down because they can't get soya beans to process because the soya grain raw was exported this same year. The farmers exported the grain outside the country. And now, so I think Techima North is not even doing anything as much. So that is the danger. We can have the resources, but it will not go into the factory, and the factory will become redundant, because I'm sure you have a board already which is taking allowances for doing nothing. And the overhead costs will become so huge. That's what we do in Ghana. Why is it that all the factories have collapsed? There are a group of people who will not produce anything, but they take the chunk of the money. And the producers are there, then they close down. Why is it? I was asking one person in Tamale recently. When they were talking about employment, I said, I've been in Tamale for the past 26 years, 96. And by then you see cotton farm from here to Une. Today come to Tamale and look for one cotton bud, you won't find it. What happened? And you cross the border to Burkina Faso, dry land, they are exporting cotton. And you say we are looking for a job. And the fact, so yes, somebody told me they have revived the cotton board. And I said, to do what? What are they going to do? If you want to revive the company, is it the board that you should revive first? To be having city allowances and what when the company is not producing. So I pray and hope that your factory work very hard to refine the gold. So we make more money from it. So on this note, I have to bring this session to. I look at the program. Please, you may have a proposal to present.
Prof, let me.
If we continue like this, we'll leave here.
No, but let me just
say. Please, you see, somebody will say Ghanaians talk too much. Let's stop talking and act. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Chairman. A benevolent dictator. Right. We've made a lot of progress till now. And the host institution, the University of Energy and Natural Resources, has a proposal to present to Ghana and the world. And at this point in time, I'm happy to invite the one nominated and appointed and clothed with the mandate to do this, Dr. Abdul Wadud Mumi, University of Energy and Natural Resources.
Thank you very much, Registrar, for granting me the speaking right this afternoon. So, as the host university, we have listened to very brilliant, creative, and innovative ideas from the various speakers, both presenters and panelists. And we have also listened to experts in the industry, as well as from governance background. As academic institution that has taken the venture into this is what we also have for you. And we feel that we must make a proposal to the people of the Republic of Ghana, not to government. And our proposal is on monitoring and governing artisanal and small-scale mining in Ghana. But then, we must have the will as a people. And if we have the will to respond to our proposal, we should also be ready to settle the bill for the will. And what is the bill? Before then, what is the will? So on behalf of the University School of Mines and Built Environment presents the proposal. And before I proceed, I must first of all introduce the university to a lot of our guests who have joined us here, have very little clue about the mandate of our university. University of Energy and Natural Resources was established by an Act of Parliament, Act 830, way back in 2011, but it became operationalized in 2012. Having operationalized the university, it has been given very clear mandate to promote human resource development and skills required to solve critical energy and natural resource challenges of Mother Ghana and society in general. The university has also been given a mandate to undertake research in engineering, economics, science, environment, and also conduct outreach programs to involve the community the society that it has to support. Beyond that, the university has also been given the mandate, having conducted research and conducted outreach programs, generate relevant knowledge. And once the university generates relevant knowledge, we ought to disseminate this knowledge and apply the knowledge to address energy and natural resource needs and aspirations of the people of Ghana. To do this, we are not on our own. It all involves logistics and resources. And we cannot carry it all on our shoulders alone. We need partnership. For that reason, we must establish partnership with relevant organizations like the PMMC, like the Minerals Commission, like the Chamber of Bullion Traders, like the Chamber of Mines, to be able to do the earlier mandates and responsibilities given the university. For that reason, to carry all these assignments out, the university places itself in different schools. And the schools in the university, we have School of Agriculture and Technology, we have School of Arts and Social Sciences, we also have School of Engineering. Beyond that, I think the computer has missed something somewhere. We have School of Energy, we have School of Natural Resources, we also have School of Sciences. And then we have School of Geosciences, we have School of Graduate Studies, and we have School of Mines and Built Environment, the latest to be established by the university to address its mandates. The School of Mines and Built Environment of UNIA is established based on the model, a two-tier model. And what's a two-tier model? We have the Minister of Energy. The university's mandate falls within the Minister of Energy. We also have the Minister of Lands and Natural Resources. The university's mandate falls within the model of the Minister of Lands and Natural Resources. What has the Minister of Land and Natural Resources got to do with University of Energy and Natural Resources? Two key objectives. To develop and maintain effective institutional capacity and capability at all levels, I mean national, regional, district levels, for land, forests, wildlife, and mineral resource service delivery. And the other objective is to develop and maintain research into challenges of forest, wildlife, and mineral resources and land use. And that is the mandate that University of Energy and Natural Resources actually falls within the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources. But it's not only about the ministry, we have to engage other stakeholders. For that reason, we require collaboration from the private sector as well to be able to deliver our mandate appropriately. So in another attempt to deliver our mandate within the mineral resources sector, we have invited you all to join us to look for avenues to conduct and address sustainable mining in the country. So our aim as a university for this dialogue is from dialogue to actions, from actions to positive impact. How do we yield the positive impact that we hope at the end of the dialogue? To establish feedback mechanism between all stakeholders that have taken part in this dialogue. We've generated novel ideas out of this dialogue? Do we allow these ideas to end here? No. A lot of people have asked, and my very good friend Henry Rosay repeated it here, that next year, if we have to gather here again to speak about the same thing that they have spoken about in the previous years, they won't come. And we can also assure you that we will gather here next year, God willing, to talk about the achievements that we have chalked out of this dialogue, and we will bring you the updates on the achievements that would have chalked out of this dialogue. And that will be the essence for the next dialogue next year. And that is the feedback mechanism we hope to establish across all stakeholders in the mineral resource sector as a university. We also seek, as you would have seen, that a lot of you have taken active part in the discussions, which has not been experienced over the years. Most of you would have been with a gallery, and your only role is to ask questions. And most of the times the questions are dodged. But you would be honest with us that you are well satisfied that you have been able to speak your mind and contribute your quota for the sharpening of the small-scale mining sector in the country. So we want to enhance participation of everyone in the discussions. And I always say what the psychologists say. Persistence breeds persuasion. Let's not throw our hands in despair. We've spoken about the same thing several times, no results. You never know, you have the last word to get the needed results. And it is here with us. And by doing that, we also hope to even include the most vulnerable groups that are otherwise neglected in resource development in this country. And that is our mothers and our wives, women, in the dialogue. So I was happy that the two dignitaries, very important three dignitaries we had here were all women. The minister who represented the vice president, and the minister who represented the Minister for Education, that's Deputy Minister. And we also had the chairperson to the board of the Minerals Commission, who was also a woman. So we have already achieved our objective, involving women in the discussion, and we hope to sustain it. As a university, we also seek to enrich the potential of the artisanal and small-scale mining sector in the country. And how do we do that? My very good friend, Robert, and senior brother, and his colleagues would admit that this discussion, this dialogue has been different from the previous ones. We have asked them to come and tell the whole world their side of the story. And they have had all the opportunity in this world today to tell their side of the story. It doesn't end there. We try to organize other opportunities to enhance their capacity, their marketing capacity, as well as their resource generation capacity. These are some of the ways we seek to enrich the ASM subsector in the country. As a university, I keep on repeating, it is our mandate to foster sustainable mining practices. How do we attain this mandate at this time? It is through establishing our unique area of competence. And that is our proposal now. What is our unique area of competence? First of all, we have a model which is unique. And I guess Professor Richard Amankwa is going to take note of our model. But we'll be very smart to connect it to the existing model that we already run. We propose to all stakeholders in this country, including government and the private sector, that given the opportunity, University of Energy and Natural Resources has the capacity to establish a real-time satellite monitoring station which would take inventory of every newly born illegal mining activity in the country, which has the capacity to also take inventory of the environmental friendliness or unfriendliness of even large-scale mining companies' activities in the country, which would have the capacity to inform decision makers and governments, and even the private sector, which seeks, for instance, we have the Equator Principle of the World Bank. If you don't fall within, as an investor in the mineral resource sector, if you don't fall within the Equator Principle of the World Bank, you shall not qualify for a facility to invest in resource development. So our satellite station has the capacity to enhance this and feed into the desire even of the African mining vision and into the Equator Principles of the World Bank. Further, we therefore propose that, given the needed support, government, in partnership with University of Energy and Natural Resources, would establish substations of several satellite receivers across the country. And these substations will transmit on daily basis high-resolution satellite imagery to the main receiver that we have on our main university campus. And we would then have the main behind the computers on a daily basis to monitor the new imagery that shall be transmitted to the receiving station and can quickly alert anyone on the ground that there is a mess at this particular location and attention must be immediately deployed to that particular station for further investigation and validation. Quite apart from that, the hourly and daily transmission of satellite data to our receiver stations on campus would also enhance resource mapping and exploration. It has the capacity to do that, which is currently underutilized. And I have already jumped to the second one, monitoring for existing activities and emerging activities. And when we achieve all these, then we would have arrived at what we call precision mining. The panelists discussed sporadic mining by artisanal miners. Let's try here, is there enough deposit? When it fails, we go elsewhere. But our capacity would actually supplement and complement the effort of Geological Survey Authority to do precision mining. We don't just go around searching for it without adequate knowledge. And to do that, we still require partnership with the private sector and as well as government. Continuing with our model. As I said, we would also train local operators and supervisors across the country where we would have receiver stations. And these people, as soon as our men behind the computers on campus get a signals, probably of mercury contamination, of deforestation, we receive the signal, then we deploy the men on the ground. So we'll train them how to use handheld GPS to navigate to these areas that we would be able to spot and towards operations. Use the handheld GPS, navigate, and be able to pick accurate coordinates and feed into the data that we shall receive to calibrate the data for adequate redress. These require Earth observation and remote sensing technologies for detailed exploration to improve our knowledge on resources as well. Now to the area that my very good friend Nana Ewa has to deal with. And I was very happy when he touched on the preemptive right? Am I right? that the government has the right to buy the raw material first before even the Chamber of Bullion Traders come in. And I'm very happy that, as the saying goes, great minds think alike. University of Energy and Natural Resources proposes that, learning from other countries that have faced similar issues and have managed to get out of it somehow, even in Africa, why won't government be the sole buyer through the central bank, buy gold from small-scale miners at a higher rate than the market, the international market? And that is a risk, right? A huge investment. But without displacing our good friends in the Chamber of Bullion Traders. So there ought to be that kind of partnership so that even they buy and sell to government. If government is ready to provide such a funding, a capital, it is in two terms, the shorter term and the longer term, so that our small-scale miners will be highly motivated to sell all that they produce to our local buyers, and they will in turn be highly motivated to sell all that they buy from our local producers to the central bank. The central bank will feel the pinch at the beginning, the first 5 years, but in subsequent years, hopefully, as commodity prices are very dynamic, after 5 years, there could be price increase and improvement in commodity prices, where a central bank could begin to sell from its reserves, even at a higher rate than it bought from our local sellers and producers. But by that time, government would have taken control of the market, the buying situation in the country, and we would be able to address illegal sales of our raw gold. With respect to the EU Commission regulation on responsible raw material sourcing, to do this, we further need collaboration. The other area we wish to propose to address the issue is, why don't we divert the attention of our youth who are unqualified to do primary mineral production into secondary mineral production? And what is secondary mineral production? That is urban mining. And University of Energy and Natural Resources, we have the capacity to train the Ghanaian youth into secondary mineral production. That is urban mining. I know a lot of people get confused. How do we mine in the urban area? All the metals that we discard were produced from gold, diamond, copper, isn't it? So that material is still with them. We take it, reprocess it, re-extract the material that it was produced from. That is a secondary mineral. The African Development Forum has partnered with the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa and the World Economic Forum to champion the production of secondary minerals, however, create a synergy between primary production and secondary production. And that is what University of Energy and Natural Resources seeks to do. Quite apart from that, neglected minerals. And my very good friend and role model, Professor Ahin, would bear with me. Neglected minerals, excuse me to use that term, but it is generally unacceptable to call them neglected minerals. But why has it come about? Because we have actually overlooked the economic relevance of these other mineral resources that we have over the years. And they are sand. And I know people will be amused to mention sand as a mineral resource. How many of us are aware that the glasses that we use are produced from sand? Just this sand we allow contractors to fetch free of charge for construction projects. But then, there's a level of quality in that sand that must be tested as viable for market, for the production of glass. We have the University of Energy and Natural Resources seeks to bring the attention of Ghanaians and our brothers in the small-scale mining industry that the production of quality sand for export, for glass production, falls within the circles of small-scale, artisanal and small-scale mining. Can we have a second look at that instead of fix our minds on precious minerals production, which has a lot of challenges for us in the country? So UNE invites you and every stakeholder in the country to come for table discussions to support development minerals. The United Nations Development Program rightly labels it as development minerals because that is a sector that is very closer to the local people who ought to benefit from that mineral resource. Clay, sand, gravel, and mention them. We live with these. Little do we know that these are also another precious material that we could make economic gains out of if well protected, well extracted, and exported with knowledge. However, we do not leave it there. The small-scale miners, either in precious minerals or development minerals sector, ought to execute their job with responsibility on the environment. Therefore, we have the capacity and we invite all of you to support the University of Energy and Natural Resources on land degradation neutrality. My good friend Dr. Paul Nshie was here to discuss reclamation. We are coming into partnership with the German government and the Group on Earth Observation for Land Degradation Neutrality Enhancement. The university is coming into partnership for this, and we invite all of you to join us. And when we achieve this, we are also in our own little way contributing to the United Nations Agenda 2030 Sustainable Development Goals and the African Union Agenda 2063 Industrialization Dreams. Support us to reach there. To reach there shall be based on our strength. And our strength lies on remember we have a mandate to develop the skills required for efficient natural resource development in this country. And we seek to address that in these areas. The university has sought clearance from the Ghana Tertiary Education Commission to run academic programs on sustainable mining from bachelor's degree to master's to PhD. We've also received clearance to run bachelor's degree on development minerals, urban mining as well. We've also received clearance to run bachelor's, master's, and PhD degrees in sustainable land management and land degradation neutrality. We haven't stopped there, though it's very hectic. We are still developing more. We have under development programs on construction technology and management. Currently, we have other programs under consideration for clearance from the Ghana Tertiary Education Commission. And one of them is my good friend from the Geological Survey Authority would be happy that we could become partners very soon on the use of Earth observation technologies for mineral exploration. And recently we got a call from his executive director to come to discuss how University of Energy and Natural Resources could partner with Geological Survey Authority to access funding from the World Bank to use these space technologies for deeper and precise resource exploration. to support their feet. This program is currently under consideration with GTEC. We also, with the vision of the Vice Chancellor of the University, have a program on architecture and sustainable design, currently under consideration for clearance with the Ghana Tertiary Education Commission. We are still developing to help the built environment, and there are many more in the pipeline. And these are our strength areas and our unique areas of unique competence that we seek to bring to our attention, that if you partner with us, we have a lot to bring today to address most of the challenges we have bedeviling the natural resource sector in the country. As I mentioned earlier, we have the men. We also have the women. Join with us, together we shall succeed. We have a team, very solid team of multidisciplinary researchers who are experts in their areas of training, who also have competence in many other areas for collaboration. So we invite you to join us to make Mother Ghana a happy home. We have Yorick. Yorick's there whenever we need Yorick. We have a very good, ultra-modern satellite receiver station on our campus, which receives satellite data transmitted across the world. And our station cuts its nets across the rest of West Africa and can provide the needed data to deliver. With this, together with the School of Mines and Built Environment, we can conduct mineral mapping and resource exploration, environmental monitoring, mine surface subsidence, and illegal mining. We can also model the nexus between mining and climate change, which has become an area of interest to the large-scale industry across the globe. We have the capacity to do that. We've sat too long. For that reason, I would say, we have brought to you our proposal. What lies in the future for us? We look up to all of you. We look up to the rest of Ghana. All those are open. Vice Chancellor of the University of Energy and Natural Resources, Professor Elvis Asare-Bediako. His door is always yawning for collaboration. Feel free, 24/7, he's there to receive you, to partner, to develop the university, and by default, develop Mother Ghana. On this note, we don't only talk about resources without talking about the contribution of resources to climate change. So I invite all of you to the Church of Climatology. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Can I have a pregnant applause? Thank you very much. Per the order of proceedings, we have next on the bill the presentation of the communique, the closing remarks by the council chair, the vote of thanks, closing prayers, and lunch. Before the communique is read, they are getting themselves ready to do that. And by the powers conferred on me as the MC, I have appointed an academic in our midst, in the person of the Vice Chancellor of the University of Mines and Technology, to give us a brief overview, a panoramic view of the dialogue and the way forward. Professor Amankwa, proceed upstage.
Thank you, Honorable MC, and good afternoon to all of us, all protocols observed, as has been said earlier. I'm happy to be part of this discussion, and I'm happy about what UNE has also outlined. I hope that, as my colleague VC said, you will not start up a council to start drinking tea before you implement it. UMAT is virtually one of the key institutions in Ghana with a mandate to develop our natural resources sustainably. And currently we have UNE also in the same area. So the two of us are in the same soup. And that is why I'm happy to be here to support my brother to execute this program. And so far, I must say that it has been a wonderful program. And congratulations to the VC and the organizers for putting together such a wonderful program. The discussions have been great. Over the days, or let's say these past 2 days, we've heard things about access to resource. We've talked about access to funds, production of green gold, reducing illegality, amongst many things. And as academic institutions, when we hear these things, it calls for more research. What can we do to bring up ideas that are fresher and better than the ones that have already been given out? Because when we talk about dialogues, we've had several dialogues, but we still have the challenges. So it means that we have to do some kind of new thinking to come up with concepts that would help move the system better. As far as small-scale mining is concerned, I say that we have to recenter small-scale mining. As a nation, we always talk about agriculture. But records show that nobody has been able to come out of poverty through subsistence agriculture. But many people have been able to come out of poverty through small-scale mining. And therefore, the good things that happen in the agricultural sector, like for instance, spraying of cocoa farms, giving fertilizers for free, some of these things can be packaged for the small-scale mining sector so that people can do a better job, having in mind that it's not only bringing security people to chase them, but also we have situations where we can give them things that will help them to do their jobs better. As an institution of higher learning, we hope to take up some of these things to do more research, to produce more ideas and knowledge, and more in particular, now we want to go commercial. We also want to do small-scale mining, so that some of the challenges that are on the field, we can get them firsthand and then solve them and generate new ideas for the future. I believe that together with UNE, we can achieve this. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prof. You see the professor. Let me tell you something about professors, briefly. A mathematics professor got to the traffic light one day after lectures, and when he stopped, the car behind him hit and sped off. So at the police station, they asked him, Prof, what is the registration number of the vehicle that hit you? And then he said, well, I cannot remember the registration number outright. But what I know is that it began with AS and ends with 13. But the difference between the sum of the first 2 digits and the next 2 digits was inversely proportional to the coefficient of the sum of the 4 digits divided by 10 raised to the power 2. So give me a sheet of paper, I'll work it out. And he worked it out and got it for them. Let's clap for the professors. The Director General of the Ghana Tertiary Education Commission, GTEC, was supposed to be here. His apologies. He's been taken away on an equally important assignment elsewhere. But I understand he detailed someone to come and present something on his behalf. If the rep of the Director General GTEC is here, please proceed upstage to do justice to that. Thank you very much. He will introduce himself and give us the message. Thank you.
But you know me already. And this evening, you are paying twice. Ejanom ni ananom, ndi mfiri krum hey, mfiri drabo. Before I speak, person kambuno kakra. Be na watching me as an infa between ancient Yalubo na ntumani hen njenim nam hebni fani be nguma na nhesebe tutu amana wo ho bebrea na misu wam yam. In fact, there be a hen TV so, but mfa kwana no so nim hu se mmo humianga na yamani amanvo bedi yenya. So I was very happy when my boss asked me to attend this program. His apologies extended. He wanted to be here, but we are in an era of institutional review. Prof, if we have not come to you, I'm sure we will. Prof, we will come to your place already. Luckily, my uncle is your registrar. Prof, we've not been here yet. We will definitely come. So, yes, I've listened to everything. What stands out and what really appeals to the GTEC is the recognition of the partnerships, the innovative partnerships that have been presented here. In most cases, you find out that such fora, dialogues, becomes inherently and strongly academic. But this is the case. You have industry strongly represented. The idea for all academic programs from our point of view is that there is a strong synergy between industry and academics, such that the programs are designed with their input, with the main aim of facilitating the innovation creation and the spillovers that come out from it. On our part as GTEC, and on behalf of my boss, we are ever ready to facilitate the introduction, approval of any program that is strongly represented on both sides with industry and government and academia present. Our appeal to the industrial partners is this: let's not have the talk shop. Let's invest in the research. We saw researchers presenting here. Nufik is funding some, Danida is funding some. We barely heard anything from, oh, Bullion, we are funding this research. When do we start as local members of industry captains to facilitate the research in-house? We are the direct beneficiaries of such research. We don't have to wait. When the European pays for the research, he who calls for the music dictates the dance. When the European pays for the research, they determine the direction of the research and the benefit gets to them. So you read Elsevier and everything, and if you run an innovation network analysis of it, you would find out that Africa's contribution to network is somewhere around 0.3%, especially on the industry part. Please help our academics so they can come up with better ways of improving your work. GTEC is ever ready to support this. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'll see you on the other side. Right. At this point in time, a group of experts were charged with the responsibility of crafting out of all the proceedings. The leader of that team is no other than Raymond Kujau deferred. And I was asking myself, what has he deferred? But that's his name. So, Raymond Kujau deferred. You cannot defer the communique. But tell us what you are deferring. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Registrar. I am overjoyed. I feel like a lady who has just delivered, because exactly 11 months today, I was discussing the transformational dialogue with my boss, and drafted step note. He brought it to the registrar and VC himself, and they ran with it. We're knocking at the cities, and here we are. It happened, and I'm overjoyed. I also deem it a unique privilege to render the communique that came out of the transformational dialogue. It is endorsed by the Pro Vice Chancellor, and then the registrar. So here we are. University of Energy and Natural Resources, Sunyani, Ghana. 2-day transformational dialogue on small-scale mining. May 2022. The ensuing 23 community. 1. Under the auspices of the School of Mines and Built Environment of the University of Energy and Natural Resources, a 2-day transformational dialogue on small-scale mining was held from 25th to 26th of May 2022 at Sheila's Executive Lodge, Sunyani. The theme of the dialogue was enhancing multi-stakeholder approaches towards addressing challenges with artisanal and small-scale mining and institutional dynamics for sustainable practice in Ghana. The dialogue was a distillate from government's efforts in the previous year in finding a sustainable solution to the challenges posed by the artisanal and small-scale mining subsector in the country. Consequently, the dialogue received assistance from the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources and sponsorship from the Mineral Development Fund, the Ghana Chamber of Mines, the Minerals Commission, and the Chamber of Bullion Traders. 2. Present at the dialogue, which was opened by the regional minister, was Honorable Justina Owusu Banahini, who commended the organizers, half of the Vice President, His Excellency Alhaji Mahmudu Bawumia, where the Board of Ghana Minerals Commission, the Parliamentary Select Committee on Land and Natural Resources, the CEO of the Chamber of Mines, the CEO of the Precious Minerals Marketing Company, the Vice Chancellor of George Grant University of Mines and Technology, and the Vice Chancellor of the University of Development Studies. 3. The dialogue was also attended by representatives from A, the Ministry of Environment, Science and Innovation, the Ghana Geological Survey Authority. C, the Forestry Commission. D, the Water Resources Commission. E, the Environmental Protection Agency. F, the Land Commission of Ghana. G, the Ghana National Association of Small-Scale Miners. H, the Accra Mining Network. I, the Regional House of Chiefs of Bono East and Ahafo. J, the 4 major political parties. K, the Ghana Tertiary Education Commission. And L, the media. Point 4. The organizers of the dialogue underscored the mandate of the University of Energy and Natural Resources and juxtaposed it with the critical need for a bottom-up, bipartisan, and broad-based stakeholder consensus-building platform in unearthing fundamental and sustainable solutions to the challenges in the artisanal and small-scale mining sector, a sector which provides 10 times more employment than the large-scale mining in Ghana. 5. The following were expected from the dialogue. I, to build a knowledge-sharing platform that facilitates a multi-stakeholder engagement for addressing challenges mitigating against the sector. I, to develop solid scientific and technological capacities to address the challenges in the small-scale mining sector. I, to give the players along the full value chain of the sector the opportunity to share experiences and make meaningful contributions to enhance their performance and their relationships with the regulating bodies. IV, to strengthen the voices of the sector's players, especially women when it comes to decision making. And V, to increase the role of science and technology in improving sustainable mining. 6. The dialogue acknowledged that despite the positive impact of small-scale mining on the economy, most of the communities are the least developed, with the indigents living in poverty, while majority of the artisanal and small-scale miners in the country operate on illegal basis, robbing Ghana of her requisite and legitimate revenue. 7. In addition to the ineffectiveness of sector authorities and agencies, including even the security forces, the dialogue admitted that for political expediency, all governments over the years have failed to implement the harsh but necessary measures to address the challenges in the sector. The dialogue exemplified the seizure and destruction of earth-moving equipment from illegal miners years ago and bemoaned the fact that the perpetrators were yet to be brought to book. 8. The dialogue further admitted that the wanton destruction of the environment by the unbridled proliferation of small-scale mining activities in the country poses an economic contest for farmland, a trade-off which invariably impacts food security, impoverishes local farmers, exposes communities to mercury via the high bioaccessibility of the metal, and eventually allows mercury to enter the food chain. The dialogue was, however, informed that 91.3% of the mercury pollution in Ghana is from the artisanal and small-scale mining activities. The current national average of mercuric and mercurious pollution are extremely low when compared with the global average. 9. the dialogue called for a paradigm shift away from talk shops and reports, and instead, for the long term, initiate a comprehensive reassessment of Ghana's land tenure system and the laws governing the natural resource space for the sake of the next generation. The dialogue noted that the absence of mineable demarcated lands is a cardinal contributor to the movement of artisanal and small-scale miners from one place to the other, which is exacerbated by their inability to engage the expert services of exploration geologists or mining engineers. The dialogue, however, documented the expression of voluntary consultancy services extended by some of the participants from industry at the dialogue. 11. The dialogue also noted that the current notion that small-scale mining provides a third of Ghana's gold production is a voodoo mathematics, since it hasn't been possible to estimate their production but their sales. In effect, converting their sales into an assumed quantum of production can be misleading, problematic, and erroneous. To guide policy, the dialogue called for a more structured accounting procedure for estimating the production levels of small-scale mining in Ghana. 12. The dialogue inconclusively entertained the ideation of postponing the exploitation of the nation's natural resources until further notice. The dialogue, however, was surprised to learn that while Ghana documented $2 billion worth of gold export to Dubai in 2017, the authorities in Dubai documented $7 billion worth of gold imported from Ghana in the same year. 13. The dialogue recounted that sustainable extraction of mineral resources is critical for Ghana in attaining the SDGs, the Paris Climate Agreement, as well as targets needed to be achieved by 2030, of which may be missed if solutions are not found to the challenges posed by artisanal mining activities. 14. The dialogue identified that since the difference between large-scale and small-scale mining is a matter of size, and since the challenges in small-scale mining sector are not in large-scale mining, perhaps we should consider demanding everything demanded of the large-scale miners from the small-scale miners as well, just in smaller size. To buttress this, the dialogue exemplified the preparation of environmental impact assessment documents and the posing of bonds. The dialogue further challenged small-scale miners and all businesses in the country to grow and look forward to listing on the Ghana Stock Exchange to engender availability of organic funds to finance local ventures. 15. The dialogue proposed the documentation and verifiable engagement of local or indigenous geologists or mining engineers by small-scale miners as a prerequisite for renewing their licenses, and these professionals be held responsible when the right things are not done. 16. The dialogue wondered who the perpetrators of the carnage in the small-scale sector have been all this while. The dialogue proceeded to fingering the politicians and the managers of the regulatory agencies. The dialogue further resolved and admonished that every Ghanaian should be interested and take responsibility in the ongoing menace and be vocal on issues. The dialogue also questioned the motivation of government for sending armed service personnel into the fields when the small-scale miners themselves aren't armed. The dialogue was apprehensive that the practice is akin to making Ghana be compared to the likes of the Democratic Republic of Congo. The dialogue was also concerned about the impending possibility of Ghana not being able to sell her gold in the future because of gradual steps being taken in the downstream gold value chain. The dialogue documented the following. A, the preparedness of the Minerals Commission to implement recommendations from the two-day transformational dialogue. B, the Minerals Commission is involved in interacting with the small-scale miners now more than ever before, and the Commission is even considering the assimilation and engagement of the task force of the Ghana National Association of Small-Scale Miners or their services thereof to help in self-policing of the sector to curb the negative impact of their activities. C, that the Minerals Commission and the Geological Survey, under a World Bank assistance on Ghana Land Restoration Project, have commenced rudimental exploration activities to demarcating small-scale mineable lands for the communities in the northern part of Ghana. D, as a fallout from the national dialogue last year, there is now inclusiveness in small-scale mining licensing regime. It now includes traditional leaders as key stakeholders in the licensing process to ensure that only persons legally mandated to operate do operate in their communities. E, that government and a private company in Ghana with offices in Dubai have entered into a partnership to assist the small-scale miners to explore, to mine, and to refine gold that meets international standards and is devoid of conflict. 19. The dialogue learned that the work done so far by the erstwhile University of Mines and Technology, which has an artisanal and mining-scale mining radio station, has trained over 600 small-scale miners in better mining practices and has identified a local plant species used in phytomediation in the extraction of mercury from contaminated lands. The dialogue called for a system to trace the trained small-scale miners and elicit the impact of the training for replication. 20. The dialogue also learned that the country's tailings are rich in gold and resources, and resource optimization is the next lucrative alternative for the actors in the industry. While tailings from all the small-scale mining sites and even large-scale mining sites can be reprocessed to recover the gold, as recovery techniques have gotten better because of technological advances. The dialogue was also informed about the University of Energy and Natural Resources capacity to monitor in real time any activity of small-scale mining anywhere in the country. 21. The dialogue identified 4 cardinal challenges bedeviling the artisanal and small-scale mining sector in Ghana. A, the prevalence of very poor implementation of the mineral laws of Ghana and the interference of politicians. B, the legendary inadequacy in resourcing the sector and the regulatory agencies. C, exceptionally poor collaboration among the regulators who sometimes appear to be in competition. D, the rigidly centralized licensing regime. The top on the list is lack of enforcement. 22. The dialogue recommended the following. A, that going forward, all stakeholders in the mineral development value chain must get on board and speak out without fear or favor. B, that government and policy makers should establish value addition and rigid beneficiation laws or legislatives and policies. C, we need to regularly have multi-integrated stakeholder consultations rather than the usual top-down approaches. D, policy advisors and regulators must opt for integrated multi-stakeholder approaches to engender holistic and sustainable solutions to the small-scale mining challenges. E, the Minerals Commission to encourage the exploitation of other minerals such as phosphate and dimension blocks to reduce the pressure on gold mining. F, sale of gold produced by artisanal small-scale miners should be done by only licensed agents. J, the attachment of professional geologists or mining engineers to each small-scale license who will be held responsible when best practices are not met. H, that government considers allowing small-scale miners to self-police and hold their leadership responsible as exemplified and touted by Dollar Power and has successfully remediated land from tree planting. I, small-scale miners should be agglomerated to form local conglomerates that can operate like large-scale miners in the shortest possible time. J, that we as a people or a nation must consider responsible mining going forward, which can be leveraged to access extra funds from the international market and also be able to export under the trade regulations in the very near future. K, to incentivize the use of conservation techniques, sedimentation technology, and conflict resolution know-how. 23. The dialogue, having deliberated on various presentations and other submissions, as well as verbal arguments, recommendations and presentations and other submissions made, mandated the rapporteurs to come up with a comprehensive report which reflects the detailed conclusions of the dialogue and to subsequently forward this final report to the authorities that will make it actionable. And trigger feedback mechanism that will make the next dialogue session superior next year. Thank you. Signed.
Thank you very much. A Zambian friend of mine will say, Katimoko. I mean, this is serious. What a communique. A round of applause for them. Ladies and gentlemen, you all agree with me that we have all listened with rapt attention a number of presentations and contributions from the floor between yesterday and today. And I have no shadow of doubt that the intended outcome and results of this dialogue, unlike other dialogues, workshops, and conferences, will definitely, I won't even say shall definitely come to a demonstrably practical realization and fruition. On that note, I invite the Council Chairman, Professor Kwesi Nsia-Japan, to give us the overall closing remarks. Thank you.
Following from this pregnant communique, I think my job is going to be very simple. And for that reason, I'm going to be snappy. Dear participants, you all agree with me that the 2 days have been well spent. You've had the opportunity to make new friends, acquire new knowledge and information about the destruction caused by illegal mining in terms of the destruction of productive farmlands, standing crops, particularly cocoa, and pollution of water bodies, including the River Ankobra, Tano, Bia, among others, through unsustainable artisanal and small-scale mining activities. This dialogue has provided an excellent opportunity for stakeholders, I mean all of you here, to discuss issues and find possible solutions to the challenges facing the sector. We have come to the consensus that the destruction of vital resources of land, forests, air, and water due to artisanal and small-scale mining activities cannot continue, and that we should not allow the interest of the few to jeopardize the collective interest of the majority. Therefore, the action is now. The question is, have we met our objectives? I will say yes. This meeting has brought together a lot of people, including industry players, the regulatory agencies, relevant ministries, and other primary stakeholders to sit together and brainstorm through the challenges facing the artisanal and small-scale mining sector. And a number of recommendations have been made to address the challenges facing this sector. Again, we have succeeded in selling UNEL to the general public, especially those of you who have assembled here. We now know the existence of UNEL. There are many of you here who did not know about our mandates and the role that we play and have played in society. Now we expect to receive more applications from your wards, now that you know of our existence, so that your wards can come here to receive training in our serene environment. We count on you to be interested in our search for knowledge and development through research and training. How can we measure the success of this meeting? The success and importance. The importance and the success of the dialogue can be measured by the participation of a mix of key players and the concluding results in the communique. The key players are mentioned among others: government officials, the Parliamentary Select Committee, the ministers, representatives for the Minister of Lands and Natural Resources, the Vice President of the Republic of Ghana, chiefs Nananum, the academia, small-scale miners, associations, security services, civil society groups, and some international bodies who provided support for this activity. The critical question following the documentary which showed the extent of damage and destruction of our vital resources, particularly land, forests, and water, is who is behind all this. The discussions have led us to know the culprits, who they are, where they live, and how they behave. Prominent people in government, members of parliament, party officials who have capital to buy the equipment that we use or they use to destroy the landscape. We also talked about traditional rulers, Nananum, business leaders, and other opinion leaders in our communities, the security services who aid and abet through corruption and greed. The question is, who watches the watchman if you send a security man to the mining site to ensure that the right things are done? In the regulatory agencies who give out permits due to political considerations, these agencies are slow in taking drastic decisions and often can back but cannot bite. Then we have the general public. The general public is you and I, who sit unconcerned while the destruction goes on. We've all become cowards and unable to criticize and report lawbreakers for the fear that they will call us names or they will accuse us in one way or the other. What are some of the major challenges that will confront us? From the presentations and follow-up discussions, there are several challenges in the artisanal and small-scale sector. From prospecting, drilling, financing, processing, marketing, there are problems which must be addressed. The lack of refinery in the country means for all these years we have not benefited from the gold that we produce locally because we do not benefit from the byproducts such as the silver. Some suggested solutions. As part of the strategy to address the challenges, we need to provide geological information to small-scale miners. And from the presentations, it's clear that one of the main challenges to be addressed is to provide artisanal and small-scale miners access to geological data in order to increase yield and improve profitability, reduce tension and conflicts between ASM miners and large-scale miners or mining companies who owe the concessions. We're saying that we must reduce the cost of procuring geological information. We should also ensure ready access to capital, because ready access to capital will enable small-scale miners to purchase and use appropriate equipment, acquire licenses, and eliminate the Chinese who entice them with cash to front for them. Local processing facility should be made available so that we can enjoy the full benefits derived from the resources we currently are unable to process in the country. the corrupt and selfish attitude of the Ghanaian. The impunity with which we are destroying our land and water bodies in the name of mining is similar to the destruction of the Achimota forest, which has become topical and now a public debate. Once I have the floor, let me push forward my recommendation. That is protection and conservation versus utilization. Let us, with all the problems associated with gold mining, the lack of refinery, the distraction caused by our own activities, and all the negative things we have said about this, why can't we conserve and protect that resource for the future generation? If we exploit this resource and it gets exhausted, where will Ghana be? Will we die? Will we perish? Let us stop mining and promote cocoa production. Because cocoa production will at least protect the soil. And it will nourish the soil rather than deplete the soil nutrients. The rationale is that if we destroy the cocoa farms, we'll be left with the gold, which can be mined and get exhausted after years of mining. And eventually, we'll have lost the cocoa and we will also have lost the minerals. However, if we keep the cocoa, we will still have the minerals to mine in the future. Future workshops I recommend should include a visit to some of the mining communities in the Ahaf North and the Ahaf South areas in Bono region, so that we will better understand and appreciate the challenges of small and large-scale mining. I would like to take this opportunity once again to congratulate the organizers and the sponsors of this dialogue and members of the planning committee, whose efforts and vision have made this meeting a huge success. I extend same thanks to all of you for being active participants, obedient servants in this process. On this happy note, I have the singular honor and pleasure to declare the 2-day transformational dialogue on small-scale mining in Ghana formally closed. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chairman. This pregnancy will result in twins. Dr. Wadud will give us the vote of thanks.
Thank you very much. I first came in my capacity as a lecturer at the School of Mines and Built Environment. My second appearance is in my capacity as a member of the organizing committee to give vote of thanks. In the Quran we say, وَمَكَرُوا وَمَكَرَ اللَّهُ وَاللَّهُ خَيْرُ الْمَاكِرِينَ. You plan, God plans too. God's plan is the best. Someone has asked me before, have you ever smiled? Have you ever been happy? Then I retorted, Has the hunter who killed a lion ever celebrated? The struggle you go through to bring the lion down will not allow you to jubilate. Others can jubilate. They have the luxury to do so. Our first thanks goes to Almighty God for giving us the protection, the heart of endurance and patience to go through the hassle to bring everyone here to have a very successful dialogue. We thank God and we thank Him abundantly and insufficiently. Next vote of thanks goes to His Excellency, the Vice President, Al-Hajj Dr. Mahmoud Baumia. He did all he could within his capacity and passion to join us here yesterday and even today. Unfortunately, God has not planned so for us and for him. God's plan is that he should stay in Accra, support His Excellency the President in the interest of all of us. We thank him sincerely. He keeps on extending his apologies to the Vice Chancellor, to the Chairman of the University Council, and to everyone here why he could not be here with us. We accept his apology, but we still thank him for extending us these courtesies. And we hope that, God willing, next year, he will be with us. May Allah grant him the journey to join us next year. Our next vote of thank you, goes to the Honorable Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Honorable Samuel Abujinapo. Even just at the moment I had to deliver the proposal of the university, I still got a message that the Honorable Minister regrets a lot that he couldn't be with us here yesterday. He loved to do so, but God did not grant him the permission to do so. But we thank God for his life and his health, and we pray that God shall continue to grant him sound health and long life to join us here next year when we gather to reflect over this year and prospect into the coming year. Our next vote of thanks goes to the Honorable Minister for Education. In fact, Honorable Edichum has always been there for us. He was with us at the UNOSA conference, and he expressed his desire to be with us at the Transformational dialogue. So we dialogue together. Unfortunately, he had to run a national assignment in the UK, and by dint of his responsibility as a Minister for Education, he could not neglect us as a higher institution of learning. So he delegated his deputy to join us and grace the occasion. We're very grateful. He has expressed his interest in the university, and may God bless him for that. Next vote of thanks goes to our relevant sponsors. The Minerals Commission. I do not know how much to say thank you. To the extent they surprised us by bringing the entire board and the chairman of the board to join us grace this very important occasion. That is the extent to which the Minerals Commission is willing and able to support us, and we are very grateful to them. Very, very grateful to the CEO of the Minerals Commission. The Ghana Chamber of Mines recently admitted us into the chamber, University of Energy and Natural Resources, School of Mines and Built Environment, into the chamber. And that is why, even though the CEO has been very, very tight in his schedules, made it a point to be with us yesterday, and we'd all bear witness that he had to seek permission to leave so that he would be in Accra today to meet his industry people, to organize yet a similar conference, but for the West African sub-region. And he gives us his support and further extends his apologies to all of us here that he couldn't stay with us until today. We say thank you to Suleiman Ukoni for that. We further say thank you to the Minerals Development Fund, who, even though under very strict conditions granted us a lot of financial support to make this occasion a success. The board chairman, Kweku Sechi Adu, had to call me as late as 12 midnight, the night before the program yesterday. He woke me up in bed. He said, "Look, Doc, I must reluctantly disappoint you. His Excellency the President has given me a national assignment to orchestrate yesterday, together with His Excellency the Vice President and the Honorable Minister for Lands and Natural Resources. And regrettably, that's why both of them cannot join you, but I tried to join you. And I can tell you that I'm just closing for a meeting with the two of them at that night. And they had to come together again yesterday for national assignment. We extend our gratitude to the Board of Minerals Development Fund, the administrators, and all the staff. In our presence, Precious Minerals Marketing Company. Indeed, the CEO is actually a precious material for Mother Ghana. He was with the Vice President and the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources yesterday, even around this time, in a very tight schedule, which prevented both of them from joining us yesterday. But he, young as he is, but older than the Honorable Minister, has made it a point to join us this morning up to now. And he has also pledged to be such a very relevant partner to the university. We are so grateful to you, Nana. Could you raise up your hand and let those who don't know you see you well? Our next thanks goes to the management of the university, who has, upon all its challenges and constraints, taken the risk and given us the enabling environment to organize this program. We have had and enjoyed the support of the Vice Chancellor, the Pro Vice Chancellor, and you will all bear witness that the registrar has been on his feet since yesterday up to now to see to it that this program is a success. May God grant you sound health and long life, all of you. Our colleagues, they have been so supportive. Every lecturer in the university has been so concerned and interested in the success of this program. Otherwise, future programs may not get the needed attention and support. We appreciate your courtesies and concerns. The organizing committee appreciates your support, and may God bless UNE. May God bless all of us. I cannot say thank you to everyone without and singularly acknowledging and expressing our sincerest gratitude to the industry players, particularly the Ghana National Association of Small-Scale Miners, duly represented here by 3 of their branches, the Boletinga branch, Upper West branch, and the Upper East branch. And we all bear witness. They've been very active, have leveraged the opportunity granted them by the dialogue, and have made it very participatory and involving. We are really grateful to you. Unfortunately, their colleagues in other districts could not join due to issues beyond their control. We only hope and pray that the success of today and yesterday would grant them the zeal and the will to join us come next year, so that together we all benefit from a persistent dialogue that would breed persuasion to success. To our media partners, the multimedia group, particularly Joy FM, Joy TV, Adom Inshria, we do not know how to say thank you. Only God can tell you thank you. The multimedia group granted us all the media visibility for a zero cost. At a zero cost, no charge. Live coverages. Joy FM has granted us live radio interviews to cause global visibility of this dialogue. And they have successfully orchestrated their agenda. May God bless Joy. They further granted us live TV interviews. I do not know how to express our gratitude to you. And you even tell me that we should continue to come. Please don't let us overflood your doors. City could not grant us promos, but they granted us live interviews. Please, whoever is here that can speak to the management and staff of City TV, City News, City FM, please tell them the whole university, the entire Bono are highly grateful for their yeoman's job. Let me say, Joy ran a lot of adverts and promo for this program at, as I say, no cost to the university. The Ghana Broadcasting Corporation cannot be left out. Indeed, the Director General of Ghana Broadcasting Corporation called me at one very hungry morning. I hadn't taken my breakfast and he woke me up from sleep. Look, Wadud. I want to tell you that the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation is ready to support this all-important dialogue. We are your media partners. We will grant you all the relevant promos free of charge. We are also willing to give you live coverage of the program on the first day. However, there's a cost, which has to do with the satellite transmission of the live coverage, which the corporation cannot bear. I therefore suggest to you, I know University of Energy is actually working on its knees. So make a request to the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources that they should give us a little support to bring this program live on GTV and all GBC channels. We have tried our best, unfortunately. God didn't permit it to come through. However, I have to say thank you to our University Relations Office. They have taken it upon their shoulders to ensure that we have live streaming on all social media networks. Whoever is not able to join us in person here has been able to join us through all these other channels. I say thank you to the URO of UNE. Next thanks goes to the Vice Chancellors who have made their time to come and join us here. We have in our midst Professor Richard Amankwa, who has actively participated in the dialogue, and we hope to continue to dialogue with him behind closed doors, and we are grateful to you. We are so grateful to Professor Ayim, the Vice Chancellor of the University for Development Studies, as he rightly explained when he assumed his seat as the chairman of the panel, that he had to run an assignment somewhere, and that is why he could not join us yesterday, but he tried as much as he could to join us here today. This is the mark of a humble servant. Prof, we are very grateful to you for your courtesy extended. We are hungry. I cannot continue to mention all the names, but it will be a sin on my part if I do not acknowledge the support that we have received from everyone. Indeed, sitting on your buttocks for 3 hours is not an easy job. A lot of us have been sitting here since yesterday, and I want to say on behalf of the organizing committee that all those who have supported us, participated, attended to make this program a success, we are really grateful to you. May God bless all of us. It would have been a very great crime to commit without acknowledging the contribution inevitable contribution, invaluable contribution, and a participation we have received from Nananom. Nananom, yadamuase bebre, yadamuase pi, nyaminshiremu. Thank you to everyone. May God bless all of us. Thank you.
The professorial vote of thanks. Anyway, thank you for thanking us. But permit me to insert the regional minister, Honorable Justina Aobanahene, for also coming. And Dr. Henry Kwabena Kukufu also sent a representative yesterday. He promised coming today, but on his way here, he was called back. So we thank him as well. All UNES staff here in present, you will remain in the hall for a special announcement and your lunch. The rest, invited guests, deans, directors, HODs, you will proceed to the restaurant downstairs for your lunch. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamina. With respect, may we rise for the closing prayer by the Imam in our midst.
Let's pray to Allah by starting from where register ended. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. We are grateful to you, Almighty Allah, for your grace and mercy. We sincerely thank you for your direction and guidance, without which we wouldn't have had such a wonderful dialogue. We have an idea, we have a vision, we have knowledge of what we want to do, but our effort will be in vain without you. We ask you for wisdom and enlightenment in solving this challenging issue that brought us together here. Help us to move beyond sweet speeches and beautiful policies to beautiful and appreciable actions that will have positive impact and can help us save our land and water bodies and thereby save human life. We put all stakeholders into your sacred hands, from the ministries, commissions, boards, Nananom, the security agents, small-scale miners, illegal miners, and all who have roles to play in the fight against these menace. For those in authority who are supposed to help stop illegal mining, but who are taking advantage of their positions to enrich themselves, we ask you, Ya Allah, that you deliver them from selfishness, greed, and wickedness. Imbue in them true patriotism and the spirit of contentment with what they earn legally as salaries and allowances. Let our security agencies be steadfast in protecting lives and properties of Mother Ghana. Let them not be weakened by the sight of illegal money. Nananom are traditional leaders. We revere them so much. They are the custodians of our culture and land. They do not have money to buy excavators, but sometimes some of them are influenced and deceived by the owners of excavators. We pray that you awaken such thieves and inject love for the people they serve into their hearts. Ya Allah, make the outcome of this dialogue positively different from previous ones. Let it be fruitful for us and the generation yet unborn for a better life in the good land you have provided Mother Ghana. We finally ask you for traveling mercies. For all who came here from far and afar, we are grateful to you for your ever-readiness to answer our supplication. This is our ardent prayer, and our expectation is your prompt answer. Wa sallallahu ala Muhammadin wa alihi wa sallam. Amin.
Thank you very much. Enjoy your lunch. Dialogue over.